Yeah, today we want to take a look at some newer tools, and also we may try to work a little more with what we have seen from the previous labs. And what we are going to do is to create a headset and model a headset. Here you can find the picture, the image from our uh, headset in the lecture lab feed. I will reply a dot to it so that we can find it easier. Let me import it here as well, but before importing it, don't forget to go to the front view and then import your image plane. Yeah, so we are here. And do you need more time to import everything, or you are fine and we can go ahead? Yeah, please just mention here in the lecture lab feed, or unmute yourself and uh, yeah, ask for more time if you need time to download and import the image. Okay, I guess we have all hopefully imported it for now. And uh, right now I want to take a look at the okay, sure. Yeah. So we have to wait a little so that everyone gets to this point. Okay, great. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, so we want to take a look at the curves, and here we try to use the EP curve tool. So go from the top menu, go to the curve surface and click on this EP curve tool picture here, and then let me zoom a little. So if you want to let me just tell that again. If you want to pan in the scene, you just hold the Alt in the Windows and press the middle mouse button, and then you can go right, up and down, and going backward and forward, or zooming in and out is just done with the mouse scroll bar. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is to try make this curve here. Let's see if I can do it. That's not really important, but it's good to try to have rather equal pieces of uh, uh, let's say your curve. So these, if you look at the let's say the lines between the points, I try to make them as equal as I can. I mean, that's good for making a good model. And if you are not happy with a point, you can just use the backspace, or I think Control Z also works. Yeah, so if you are not happy with a point, you can just go back and uh, mm, make it better. I guess that should work. Yeah, so let's see what we have got here. Yeah, we have a curve. Let me just move the image plane a little backward, because I'm going to model my headset here, and then from the front view it doesn't matter. But yeah, when we look in the other views, I don't want to have my image and headset exactly over each other. Yeah, any question until now?
Yeah, what's the shortcut for the curve tool?
Sorry?
What's the shortcut of it?
Um,
Oh,
Actually, I
I
don't
thought
know.
I thought.
Yeah, it's the one, but I don't know if you are talking about the hotkeys. I don't know if there is any hotkey there or not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mm, yeah. So now we have our curve here. There are a few points about the curve. First of all, if you want to, sorry, let's just see if there is any more question, any problem. Okay. So you can see these points here for your curve, and okay. And what you can do is to select one point and then play with it to make some changes to your curve if you need it. Um, but it doesn't give you that much of control. If you want to have more control over your curve, you can hold shift, I believe, and then right click and convert NURBS to Bezier. So the Bezier curve uh, is a little better because then what you can do is to rotate it. You can also play with the yeah, with each one of these points, and not I mean rotate this one, but you can for sure move it. So you will have more uh, control over your curve. So if you are going to create a rather complex curve, that's also good to convert it to Bezier. So it was just let me just go back to the point. Yeah, you can just hold so first select your curve, then hold shift, right click, and then convert NURBS to Bezier. And there is another maybe problem here. You can see that the pivot of our uh, curve is in a rather let's say bad position, because our curve is here but the pivot is a lot down or below our curve. So one way for doing that is to just go to the tool settings. I mean, when you select the move and then tool settings. So what do you mean by what codes, Freddy? Oh yeah. Um, it's kind of the same, but it gives you more let's say more freedom to play with your curve. It's a little easier. Bezier curves are also a little better in computer graphics, and they could be shown better if you need a better and smoother curve, let's say. But that's the same as maybe the AP curve tool, and you will see how we are going to use it for modeling our object. Yeah, so again, for um, changing the pivot position, go to the move tool and then tool settings, then edit pivot. You can then move your pivot, and yeah, you can also hold D, and then you will have this nice control to move your object's pivot. That's also one another way. Or if you want to go to an easier solution and just you want to, let's say, place your pivot in the center of your object, you can go to modify. Yeah, modify, and then where was that? Yeah, it's here, center pivot. It will just put the pivot in the center of your curve. That's also one another solution, but for now it's not important. I just wanted to mention uh, this problem with curves, and also how to edit your pivot point. So that's it for the making the curve. Any question until now?
Yeah, how to make the pivots so kind of arrows things separated. Yeah,
Mm,
for mine, I think that was stick into one.
I actually I don't really understand what you mean.
Yeah, as you can see for now, you have the green arrow, blue arrow, and that red
Mm-hmm.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
for mine, I know they're not separating in this way.
So what do you see?
It's kind of stick into one place and hard to control of them.
Yeah. So maybe I mean, do you want to resize them, for example, or you just see, for example,
Yeah,
one?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How to
So
do that?
Yeah, so with plus and minus keys on your keyboard, you can make them smaller or
Oh,
bigger.
oh, it works. Oh, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, so if you cannot see the tool settings, let me see in the Windows and then general editors, yeah, and then tool settings. Yeah, again, yeah, you're welcome. So, yeah, now we have our curve here, and let's go to the outliner. I want to duplicate my curve here. And with that, I will just move the another curve a little backward. And now I want to make a, let's say a surface, a set of faces between, these two curves. And for doing that, I will just select both of them. We have a loft tool here. You just click on it, and then you will see your lofted surface there. So again, click both of your curves, sorry, and then click on this button here, the loft tool, and then it will select this lofted surface for you. Just duplicate the first one. Let me just go back. Yeah, Control D, duplicate it, and then now you have two. Select both of them and go to the loft tool. Yeah, maybe I want to make it a little smaller. Okay, there is one more thing about the faces, which I don't remember if I've mentioned in the previous labs. So you can see the faces over here are kind of black, or you can say darker, and here they are more gray. And it means that these faces are facing in these directions. So it is the side of your object. And if you, for example, I think I said it before, if you put this just let's say surface in Unity or some other softwares, you won't see anything, because in some softwares only one side of the faces are rendered. So that's also one thing to remember. What I'm going to do is to again go and modify its pivot point, yeah. And then let's see it from the, okay, what I need to do is to maybe go back, duplicate it, or let me just think a bit. Yeah, maybe it's better to first convert it to the face. Sorry. So now we have a, if you look at it, you have a lofted surface, which is not exactly as the faces we had before. You can see it still has some control vertex, curve point, object mode, and so on. So we should convert it to what we know as original faces in Maya. And also, if you want to, if you want to just hide these curves because they may kind of bother you with your modeling, you can just select both of them and then just tap your H button in the keyboard. I mean, and then they will be just hide. And then now you can just work with your lofted surface here, and yeah, H, and so just H, just select both of them and then use H to hide or unhide. Yeah, and now actually I forgot how to convert it. Oh, it's not that one. Yeah. So that's also one good point here. Let me just show you. You may forget. Let me just. Yeah. So yeah. So for example, I want to know how to convert off the surface to polygons in Maya, and Actually, most of the times you can find it in the Autodesk forums, and let's see how it works. Yeah, they say modify, convert, and then NURBS to polygons. Okay. So what I have to do is to just click on my lofted surface, and then what was the option? Actually, I forgot. Convert and then NURBS to polygons. Okay. There's, yeah, convert and then NURBS to polygons. Okay. Now I have my polygon, let's say surface here, and then I can either delete or hide my lofted surface here. That's not really important, but you may want to keep it in case you, for example, need to make it a little better in future. And now, since it's just an object, you can see these, and it's not a curve anymore, you can see these, let's say, fragments of your model here. And yeah, that means that the let's say the curves are a lot smoother and better looking than the objects, but because most of the, I mean, actually all of the 3D graphic softwares are working with these kind of stuff, with the quads or triangles. We should convert things uh, to polygons, let's say. And here we don't see it, but you may, for example, see some artifacts here. You may see, I mean, if you look at the previous labs, I mean, video, it doesn't happen now, but sometimes you see some unnecessary edges here. Let me show you, for example, what I mean. Yeah, for example, sorry, you don't need to do it, I'm just showing you something. Yeah, for example, oh, doesn't, yeah, oh, that doesn't. Yeah, for example, you may see a few of edges here. You should just select these edges and then delete them, and then you can select the ghost vertices, but don't forget to unselect these corner vertices, because they're going to be deleted, since they are just in two, let's say, edges, and if you delete them you will see just a triangle here. Yeah, so just select these vertices and then delete them. To delete the ghost vertices, I think there are some. Mine, yeah. So yeah, I think sometimes, let me show you. I think there are some options there. You can just go to the NURBS to polygons. Maybe there is, yeah, you just change these triangles to quads. Cora, change the triangles to quads so that you get quads instead of, yeah, triangles. You're welcome. So I will wait a little to see if that works for you, and then we will go ahead. Yeah, Stone. I think I just maybe go back to the step you. Okay, great. To where you converted your lofted surface to polygons. At that position, just go to modify and then convert. Click on this square here and change the triangles to quads here. It will make quads instead of triangles for you. I hope that helps, but we will wait a little more. Okay, and what I'm going to do is to duplicate this polygon I have here. I will move it upward a bit. I will play a little bit with it so that it fits my upper border, and I will do the same to the other one to make it a little smaller and maybe shorter to fit my lower edge. I guess that works. Um, you could also, if you don't feel comfortable, you could uh, change the pivot of your polygons, but it's not really important for now. Yeah, let's just go to this one. And as I said, you see both of these, let's say, curves are facing downward, but I want this curve to face upward. Before showing you how to do that, do you have any question? And is there any problem, or do you want more time to complete this step? So again, the fastest way is to just go to center pivots. Then you will put the pivot to the center, but yeah. Mm. Yeah, so let me just hide these two. So let's say if I had let me just create one between them. For my lofted surface here, I will just go to modify and then convert and next to polygons. I will click on this small square here, and in there, if the triangles are checked here, just check the quads there so that it makes quads for you instead of triangle faces, and then do the apply. You will see your, yeah, you're welcome. So let me just delete these two and hide my curve and bring back my, okay. Now we have our, let's say, our surfaces here, and I guess we should wait a little more for Stone because he just converted the curve to the polygon. So what we did was to just try to fit our two curves to the upper and lower edges of our headset by just moving and scaling our curves. Yeah. Is there anyone who needs more time, or should I go forward? Okay, I guess you're fine. And yeah, so let me just find it. Yeah. So for as I said, I want these faces to face upward instead of downward. So for doing that, go to mesh display and then reverse. Now you can see our uh, uh, bigger curve is facing upward while the smaller one is facing downward, which is exactly what we needed. And now, if you remember, we had a bridge tool, and I'm going to take advantage of it. But before making bridge between these two curves, I should make them into one object. So select both of them. You can either go to poly modeling tool. I think it is the combine tool. Yeah, you can use the combine tool here, or right click on, yeah, sorry, and go to the mesh tool and use the combine here. But that's the same, that doesn't matter. And now I have just one object here. You only double click on one of the border edges, and you'll see it's wide enough to select all these edges for you, and hold shift and double click on one of the other border edges in the upper curve, and then go to edit mesh bridge, sorry, or use this bridge tool here. Yeah, you see that they are exactly the same, and it will make this nice bridge for you between your sorry, curves. And that's, as I said, one way for uh, making this curve. And now what you can do is to, for example, if you are not happy with some part, you can insert some vertices here and then maybe move a little apart. But the problem is you may change the width of your headset, and that may not be a really good option, but what I was just saying, that maybe you can use it for making it a little better. And also, let's say if you want to just work on half of your model and then duplicate it, you can just delete the one side of edges and then go and select all your vertices here. Make sure that you put all your vertices exactly on this line, and now you can go ahead and do whatever changes you want. Let me just make a few changes here. Sorry. Where is that? Yeah, so I want to, for example, put it exactly in between here. And then you could also use more points in your curve as well. I will go with the same length, so I will not move the vertices forward from each other. I just try to use that for making a better looking curve here. It's not going well. That's all good, but yeah, it's kind of based on what you think is the best. I'm kind of happy with that. And then whenever you are okay with what you have done, you can just go to, where was the, yeah, mesh mirror, which we will see in future on how it goes. Let me just go ahead a little more and try to model this lower part of our headset curve here. For doing that, if you remember, we can always make some smaller faces here by, for example, using uh, the bevel tool. Oh no, sorry, not the bevel tool. Maybe as the bevel works, but if you want to control things a little better, you may use the interactive. Sorry, what was the name? Yeah, insert edge loop tool. Sorry, and then try to put your edges, or yeah, the edges or new vertices in a good manner. And then what you need to do is just select those and extrude them. So we could also go ahead with this method as well from the beginning. What we could do is to uh, go ahead with only having uh, one cube here, and then we could extrude it until this way, but it's a little hard to make it match this curve completely. And yeah, I think using curves is a little better, but uh, let me mention that there's also another better way that we will see in future, but for now let's just go with what we have here. And you can also mm, yeah, I will just rotate a little, because at the end it's just going to be a horizontal let's say face, and from here it's just kind of having a slope here. So, and try to uh, have a consistent let's say width here, or if you don't do it, it may look a little odd. uh, Actually that's a little hard for me to make sure that I am keeping the width here. That is not important that much. Oh, select. Oh, and there is also one mistake that I made here. I don't know why, but I wanted to select both of the meshes, and I think I forgot to say that for extruding you can either use this tool here, and then you can increase the divisions to 1, and you could work with this one, or let me just go back, and then you could just select shift and move the faces downward, and that's also possible for uh, extruding the faces. Let me do these things again as fast as I can. Maybe should do okay. Rotate it. I will try to do it as fast as I can, because it's not the best solution we have, so we will see better ones. Yeah, insert edge loop, go to mesh tools and then insert edge loop. In that settings, you just select the relative distance from edge or equal distance from edge for doing what we did. But if you want to add multiple edges with equal distance, you can just use the third option as well. But we using the first or second option is okay for now. Okay, and let me extrude this last face here, and I will go with. Let's just take a look at our curved surface. I am happy with it, but I believe you're better than me in artistic things, so uh, you may have more time and you may also want to make it a little better. But I'm happy with it for now. And yeah, it's based on your imagination, but I believe there is a, let's say, cylinder or a circular thing at the end of this face. For that, um, actually, when you reach at this point, you will realize that that's not a good solution, and that's why we will take a look at another solution we have. But for now, when you reach here, you kind of see that it's a little hard to uh, let's say add a cylinder here correctly, but let's try to do it and see what happens. So I'm going to create a cylinder from here. Just go to this button here, and where was that? It should be here. Yeah, and then in the polycylinder option, I will just make the subdivisions a little more, and where was that? Yeah, I will rotate it a little, not a little, sorry, with 90 degrees, and I will make it smaller. Could also play with the radius as well, and that's also one thing to see here. I want to, let's say, I want to scale my cylinder here to match this circular thing here, and by just looking at here, it's really hard to imagine what's going on. But if I look at both of these views, I can first move it downward, and whenever I am happy with its place, I can use the scale tool here and the nice square option here that allows me to scale it uniformly along the both which are the directions, Z and Y directions or axes. I can just scale my cylinder and make it a little wider. I think that's good. Actually, one more thing to mention. Let me see. Yeah, that's okay, but you may need to have more, let's say, vertices in the surface of your cylinder, and that could be achieved by adding or changing this number. Maybe 10 is good for now, but we will see. And let's just go to this view. I want to uh, make it match my object here, and maybe it's a little better to make it, yeah, because I want these vertices to match exactly these vertices. I'm kind of happy with the formation now, and what I have to do is to, as you see, is to kind of connect these two vertices together, these two together, these two together, and that's the same for the other side as well. Yeah, it seems they don't completely match with each other. Let me just make it a little wider as well. Okay, I'm okay now. Yeah, so as you can see, there are many problems for doing that, but I just want to show you that there is still some solution for that. So combine the two objects for now, and let's see if there is any question. You can either use this item here, the combine, or go to mesh and then combine. But before that, don't forget to select both of the objects. And now, sorry, let's see if there's any other question. Yeah, it could be. Actually, I haven't thought about the differences between them, the Boolean union and the combine. No, actually, it's not the same because let me show you. Let's say I have two cubes here. Let's just make it smaller. So if you go with the Boolean, what's that? Union, you will see that it will remove this kind of let's say unwanted part of the smaller cube. But if you go to the mesh and combine, that unwanted part is still there. So yeah, they are different. So it's kind of the Booleans union is or difference or intersection are exactly used for the time that you know exactly they are going to be, for example, connected in this way. So you can use the Booleans union, let's say. Yeah. Okay. Delete these things and let's go back to our headset here. And if there is no more question, which it seems there is no more, let's just go ahead with connecting these vertices. So what I'm going to do is to select, actually I'm not sure if this is the, yeah, let's see what happens. Select this target weld and then select, hold shift, select the first vertex and select the second one. Okay, that's great. I don't know why it didn't work. Sorry. Target weld. Let's see, let me see why it is not working. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but just hold shift, select the first vertex, hold shift, select the second one, and then enter. Okay, that's really weird. Hold shift, first and second one, and hold shift. I don't know what happens there sometimes, but that's what you want to do. So that's also important. The order is important. If you first select the above vertex and then the below one, okay, not what I intended to do. But if let me show you again. Sorry, the other way. Okay, I don't know why it doesn't let me show this to you. Yeah, it will go to the upper vertex instead of the upper one going to the down, because we want to have our circular, let's say, structure. I want to connect the above vertex to the lower one. So that should do the trick. Okay. Sometimes it just does not forget the previous vertex and puts all the vertices into the previous one. Okay, now we have our vertices exactly connected, and as you see it's just one vertex, because let's say if we just go back, these vertices are different. Even either if you just put it exactly above the other vertex, if you move it, the other face would not change. But you can see this is just one vertex. There are not two separated vertices. So let me do this the target well tool here again. So target well tool, as you saw, is used for connecting. Actually, I always have problem with the order of the vertices, and I have to do it until it works. Yeah, it works. Okay. So as I said, there is one target well tool. There's also another tool that you could use. You can hold V and then put the let's say wanted vertex to this destination or the position you want, and then what you can do is to select both of the vertices there and make sure that you don't select any other vertices, and then go hold shift, right click, merge vertices to center. It will merge the vertices for you. Let's just see what would the smooth uh, model look like. It's kind of okay, but I believe there are a few problems here, and you can see it here. And I hope that's the point, and I can show it to you. But you can switch between this smooth and unsmooth mode by 1 and 3 keys. Sorry. So yeah, go back to the normal mode and delete these faces in between. So there are two faces from the cylinder from below and two faces from the curve from up. So you could delete them before combining the two models, but you can do it now as well. And with that, you will see this hole here. You want your model to have faces only in the outer or in the places that you can see. So in your modeling or in your, let's say you are not going through the headset, so those faces are not needed, and actually that could cause some problems for your model. And you can see it's a little better and smoother. Actually, I believe that's the case, but you may find them exactly the same. But I think it matters a little, and you should be aware of this problem and avoid having these things. Any question? Any problem? Any question? Okay, and now what I'm going to do is to select these faces here, and then I'm going to make this piece, this again circular, let's say place or piece that comes out of our base cylinder here. For doing that, I'm going to select all the outer parts of my edge, let's say faces, except these ones. So you can just again hold shift and then hold shift again and double click on the next face. It doesn't work. Using this method in the smaller circle doesn't work. And for doing that, where is it? Yeah, I should go to the left view, I believe. Okay. For doing that, let me just select all these faces. You could also do it in the perspective mode, but it's a little easier for doing that here. And now going back to the front view, you can easily move all the faces backward, and I guess it's okay, but you may want to match it a little more with what you have in the exact model. Let's say for doing what we have here, let's just make it a little smaller and move it downward a bit. Let's see if that matches. I am happy with it for now, but you may work a little more with placing things. And then as you saw from the other side, I'm going to select all these faces. I'm doing these things a little quicker because we have seen these things from the previous lab. And then I'm going to extrude it. Uh, and I'm okay with it, but again, you may want to play with it a little more. For example, you could before extruding, you can put it a little downward, but I think it's better to just go ahead. It makes a little better looking model. And then let's just scale it along this dimension and move it a bit. Okay, scale it again and move it downward a bit. I think that's okay. Then again, extrude this surface and extrude it again. You can just, I mean, make just, let's say, one set of faces, what I've you let's say design two, and you'll see why. That's okay for now. Okay, make it a little bigger, then again do the extrusion, and do the extrusion once more again, and make it a little smaller. And the reason, because sorry, if you just take a look at the picture, it seems that it's kind of going downward here, and I want to try to recreate the model exactly the same as I had before. Oh, sorry, I should extrude it, not scale, sorry. And then do the extrude here, and if the extrusion becomes a little harder, for example, you want to extrude a circle to make it bigger in terms of its radius, it's better to use this extrude tool because it's a lot more powerful, and it gives you more control. For example, you can just easily move these things backward, and also don't forget that you can always do the extrusion and then use the scale tool, but it's a little easier, but that's not really important. And now, after having our, let's say, ear part of earphone or headset, I'm just going to, oh, sorry, okay, select these faces. Again, we have this problem here. Let me select these faces. Make sure that you don't select any unnecessary edge there. You can also go with these edges, that's up to you on how you are going to create your model. Then extrude it backward. And now we are going to take advantage of, not this way, take advantage of our insert edge loop tool here. Go with the relative distance, make it small set of faces in both of the outer and inner parts, and select these faces. And that's completely based on my imagination. You may find a better design, obviously. And move it a little backward. Make sure that it doesn't go out of your model. Just move it a little, and that should do the work for us. Let's just make it smooth, and you will see a kind of good model. But again, if you remember from the previous lab, if you want to have let's say sorry, sharper edges, you can obviously use the insert edge loop tool and make the edges you want a little sharper, and but make sure that you don't make your model too complicated, because it's just a, for example, a headset in your model. And just imagine that you're going to have multiple objects and many objects there, and having thousands of, let's say, faces for only uh, a simple or maybe unimportant model in your object, sorry, in your scene is not a desired thing, but I'm just going to do, sorry, to do it for here to show it to you. And for example, you can also go with using the bevel tool here to make your model smoother in some parts. So for example, you can make it bigger and then use more segments to give it a kind of curved structure in some parts. And that's one half our headset. Sorry for not asking for having any questions, but now please ask your questions and then we will see how we can mirror our object here. Any question, any problem? And just please pay attention to our model. We try to have a good topology. We didn't use let's say faces with having more, let's say more than 4 vertices, and we only had faces with only 3 vertices like this, or having 4 vertices. So that's one thing for following good topology. And also if you want to check your, let's say, topology, you can use the insert edge tool. You will see that it's, I mean, my object is kind of recognized in all these, let's say, I mean, let's say I want to add a few vertices here. It just detects all these faces and goes all the way to the center of my circle, and that's a good sign because it means that we have used a correct, let's say, topology for creating our model here. Yeah, any question, any problem? So again, please try to keep the good topology, and that's really important for animating objects especially. Okay, and again, you may find it useful to bevel your edges here, because you may want to have a kind of curved structure here on your, okay, doesn't, on the upper part of your headset. Okay, you may sometimes need to select 2 edges so that my understands what's going on there. Okay. And then you can obviously go with bevel. It's not going to do that much because those faces are small, but you can try to make it a little better. And just take a look at here, you will see we have a face with more than 4 vertices, and for doing that you can, as you have saw before, you can use, for example, the multi-cut tool to select these vertices together so that you have at least triangles instead of a face with 5 vertices. Yeah, these are only a few tricks that I wanted to show you, and we will take a look at maybe a better solution for our work very soon. And these vertices are a little hard to select it. Okay, I haven't selected. Okay, I guess we are good for now, and what I'm going to do is to mirror my object so that I have the, let's say, we have the left part, we have the, I need to have the right part as well. Actually quads are better in animation, but triangles are better in games. And quads are better because some tools such as you saw in the insert edge loop tool, or actually I don't remember the other tools, but I'm sure that some modeling tools work better on quads. So it's better to try to keep your model constructed by quads, but if you cannot manage to have only the quads, for example here I couldn't do anything other than having triangles, because it's going to be a circle and it's going to have a point for the center point. So I'm going to use the triangles, but certainly try not to have faces with more than four vertices, because you know, a surface or a plane is just considered to be a plane, so it means that all the points should be in the same plane. But if you have more than 4 points, then let's say controlling these points and placing them correctly to face a collinear face is going to be really hard. So let me just show you what I mean. If I have, let's say, a face here, only just one face here, and let me just use the insert edge tool. Okay, that's good. And let me delete this edge here. Now we have one face and 6 vertices. If I move this vertex upward, you will see a face that is kind of broken at the center, and it's up to the actually the computer to select from where it's going to let's say to break your your planar face. So you know, you can see that the structure is kind of really bad, and when you want to, let's say, render things, you will see these problems more obviously. But for now you can see that the structure is kind of really weird, and that's not what we want in our modeling. So always try to have quads or triangles, but quads are preferred for modeling and animating things, and at the end maybe it's better for game engines to convert your models into triangles, and that's not really hard. Maya can do it for you at the end when you have created your model. And I'm doing things here, but you make sure that you save your scenes. It's not really important for me, but that's really important for you not to lose what you have done for now. And yeah, I have my model here, and I'm going to use the mirror to make the other parts. Let's see if that works. Yeah, it works. So if it doesn't work for you, you should actually, it's a little hard for me to understand these options as well. You should play a little with this option. I think word is okay for now, and then I believe axis X is also okay, because it's going to mirror things along this direction. So the axis is going to be is going to be X, and then use the mirror. And let's see our model. You also make sure that um, you delete maybe the unwanted vertices, which I don't know why there is one here, but you should always make sure that you delete them. And yeah, just make sure that the vertices here are connected together. So if I move it, yeah, everything moves. So they are all connected together, and that's going to be it for our headset. Any question, any problem? And we will get more into texturing and UV mapping and these things in the next labs, but for now we are just going to make sure that we have a good topology here and we model things in a correct manner. Any question, any problem? And for example, for this part, you may use the insert edge tool to make this edge a little harder. So that's really important. You look at the smooth version of your model and make sure that you are happy with how it looks. And for example, if you want to have, oh no, sorry, have a, you can see, let me show you. Yeah, you can see that the edge here is kind of okay, but if you want to have it harder or sharper, you obviously have to add some let's say edges here. And at the end, for example, if you don't use for let's say these faces, for instance, you can just delete them. You can just, for example, sorry, not the faces but the edges, you can go and select these edges, and but do it at the end of your modeling to make it uh, sorry, to make it more optimized for your gaming. or for your, let's say, rendering. And then at the end, don't forget to select these vertices and delete the ghost ones. Yeah, you can see that I have saved many vertices here, but obviously the smooth surface would be a lot different than what we saw. Just make sure that you understand what you want to do. So again, let's say here you can add some inserts, use some insert edge loop tool, or even the bevel tool. Yeah, it doesn't work on this surface, but that's okay. To have a good edge here. Whenever you want to see how many vertices or faces you have, you can easily go to, where was that, display, heads up display, and then polygons. It will show you the edges, the faces, and you can see, for example, here we have 85,000 faces, which is actually not good for a small model, let's say, that's going to be used in a game. But yeah, let's just go ahead with these numbers for now. Any question? Any problem? Okay. So I'm going to try to show you one another way for designing my headset, and let me bring the picture again here. Okay, I made a mistake. I should first go to the front view and then import the image. Okay, now I'm going to start from the lower part instead of going to start from the curve part. And generally I advise you to go with the lower part, because having a, let's say, a cylinder and then extrude, I mean, yeah, use the extrusion on that, let's say, cylinder is a lot easier than connecting the curve to a cylinder. So yeah, let's just create our cylinder here, and then I will do it with the numbers here, but again, that's up to you. And you saw that I did it with just arrows previously. Okay, I guess for now that seems okay to me. I make it 90 degrees, move it here, then here, okay, and maybe 3, okay. I'm happy with what I see here. Yeah, it's okay. And again, if you want to look through your model, just use 4 to go to the wireframe mode, and then you can see through your model. And yeah, I can kind of see the lines, and the model from my model, and so the image, the reference image model, and my model, to match them with together and see if there is any problem. And again, I'm going to make it to have 40 subdivisions, maybe to the height, and then 18 this manner. Let's see if it's okay. Yeah, I'm okay with it, but yeah, I don't know, it got 0. Yeah, 8. And then let's just move it a little backward. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to let me show you, extrude the where is that, yeah, extrude these 4 faces by using a curve. So let's see how it goes. Again, go ahead and create a curve here, and for doing that, just go to this curve tool here, and then try to start from this point as much as you can, and then try to stick with the center of your curve. And you don't need to always convert it to Bezier. You can just go with the default curve in Maya. Let me play with the vertices a little. Okay, it's not going on. I'm okay with it for now, and I hope that sometimes it doesn't really work completely. Okay, yeah. Going back to the object mode, make sure that you deselect your model. Don't select your curve. Yeah, again, go and select these faces, select the curve there, and then you can also use it here. Use the extrude tool here, and for doing that you can also, as you know, make the divisions more or less to have a smoother, let's say, curve. And I believe that's a little easier because let me just go back and show you. Let's say I want to have an edge here for my model, so I could before, let's say, extruding it, I could easily where is that? Yeah, use the insert edge loop tool. Where is it? It's here, yeah. Make an edge here and then go ahead with adding these faces. So what I'm saying is try to first start from the base and think before you do the modeling. So let's say if you want to have an edge here, it's a lot easier to do it before doing the extrusion, and you can see that we have a perfect edge here. You can also, as you know, do the extrusion, but I kind of prefer to do it this way. I think that's a lot easier and more manageable. Yeah, and after having this, let me just create another curve, and for that, yeah, sorry, I should use this curve here. Now let me go ahead, create my curve. You can kind of select your points and then modify them after you create your curve. Actually, I just wanted to make sure that that point is exactly on the, maybe I could go back and design the game, because I think it's better to create your, let's say, curve, and then con yeah, move your control point to then, so that make sure that your point is exactly on the center. Yeah, so after having this, I will just move this control point exactly on the line by holding X to make sure that it's completely over my, let's say, vertical border, which is the 0 point. Yeah, I'm just working a little with these points. It's not really important. You can just go ahead with the created curve. I'm just trying to make it a little better if I can. Okay, just like this one. Yeah. Just look at your curve and try to fix points that you are not completely happy with them. I'm kind of okay for now with it. And then let me select the faces and select the curve, which is not possible for now because first I should deselect it and then go to the face mode, and I'm selecting the face mode, and click on your curve and do the extrusion again. You can again increase the number of divisions, and for doing that you can just go over the divisions, hold the middle mouse of your middle button of your mouse, and then move it left or right to increase or decrease the number of divisions. Now looking from this point, everything seems okay, but not this part, and I'm going to go with let's say doing the extrusion but having less divisions. And what I'm going to do is to move it a bit and then use the insert edge loop tool to add only one set of vertices at the middle part, and then I will move both of them a little. Yeah, then maybe I should move it a little as well. I'm kind of happy with it, but you could also go with only having one curve, and I think it's a little better. I just wanted to show it two times for you, because you know, with this way, I mean, I'm kind of having two different set of faces. These are a lot bigger than the faces in the lower part, but that's okay for now. And then let me just do it from this part. I will select these faces and then extrude them. Where is the extrude? Here. Sorry. Okay, let me just make the divisions to 1. I can see better. Yeah, there is one of them that makes it a little bigger. You can either go with using the yellow arrow to make it bigger, or you can always scale them a bit the X and Y direction, and then maybe move it upward. But I think using the other thing we had, let me show you again, using these faces and then extruding it is a little better. But before doing that, just make sure that you delete these faces, because they may make things a little harder for you. Yeah, then go to the extrude and make them bigger along this dimension. And you know, with this structure, it's a little easier to design more smooth object, because it has some smoothness in itself, because you can see that this center edge is kind of coming outward, and again, it's a sign of a good topology that the edges we select are going completely to the down part, and that's okay that it doesn't know whether it should go this way or this way, because for now we just have an edge here and it's hard for the Maya to understand where it should go from that part. And then do the bevel, we make it bigger and use more segments, or less, maybe that's fine, that's up to you. And yeah, you can also maybe deselect, oh yeah, that's fine. Bevel these two as well to make it a little smoother. I'm kind of happy with what we have here, but it's up to you on what do you think of your model. And then when you make it smooth, you kind of have good, beautiful edges. And again, it's based on what you think of your model, around your model. And yeah, you may also think that the first option is better. It's up to you on you think which one works better, but I kind of uh, prefer the uh, second one. I'm starting from the base, and again you can, as you saw, which I'm not going to do it again, you can, for example, select these faces. Sorry, that's a little hard for me to see. And that's also a little hard for me to see as well. So you can see that there are some problems here. Maybe it's better to delete these edges because it is making some problems here. Okay, so that's one triangle. Yeah, you can delete them, but you may also want to have it because it's based on what you think, because you know it's kind of a kind of moving thing to the down, and then here it detects that maybe it's better to have a triangle at the end to finish these two lines coming down. So it's up to you on what you are going to do. But yeah, and one more thing, you can also select the faces easier from here, and then for example you can select these outer ones. That's the maybe wiser way for uh, extruding the faces. And yeah, you have seen these things, so I'm not going to do the ear part again, but that's completely going to be exactly the same. And at the end you can first make sure that you delete these faces and mirror your object. Go to mesh. Yeah, mesh mirror. Things look good, and mirror your object. And only for now you can see we have also used less faces, and that's a good sign because it's going to be a better model in our 3D softwares. Do you have any question or any problem? Okay, if not, I think we are kind of in a good position for ending the important parts of our lab. And let me just make sure that I've said all the things, and let me just show you the assignment as well. Week 3. Yeah, you are making the camera. Um, yeah, so you have learned these things to create sharper, can you do lower indents or extrusions whenever you need, or you have learned how to create round holes, which I will show you that again. And as you saw, we used multicut in this and also previous lab. We have used insert edge loop tool. We have used target well to merge vertices, and also you could also merge the vertices with selecting two or all of them, and then merging them together by holding shift, right click, and then going to the merge setting. Yeah, so that's, I think, all the things you should know. And let me just show you how to make rounded holes in an object. I think we have saw it. Let's just take a look at it again. So actually there are two ways. We have seen one of them, and I will show you both of them as fast as I can. So I think you don't need to do anything for this part. You can, maybe it's better for you to take a look at what I'm doing here. Yeah, I will show you. Actually, we are using the multicut exactly here. And let's just take a look at the top view, delete the, oh no, sorry, and then unselect the lower edges, then delete these edges. Now we have some vertices. Again, if you don't need them, you should make sure that you delete them. But now we need them, and we will see how we are going to make a circle over our rectangle here. Sorry. And for doing that, we are going to use the multicut tool. Try to connect the points which are exactly opposite in the opposite position of each other. So they, for example, two corners should be connected to each other, and that goes for all the other vertices. And now you can see that you have only one point because it's a rectangle. If you think a little about what you have learned in the geometry, all the lines should go and yeah, through one center point, which is here. And then we are going to use the bevel tool, which is kind of different from what we used previously, but that's okay. It's one another, let's say, usage of bevel here, and you will see that it gives you a smaller rectangle to what you have here. You can change this number to make it a little bigger or smaller. I'm going to use maybe 0.5 items, okay. And then after doing the bevel thing, just select your edges, and I'm doing it to deselect the edges from below, and you can see these two are remaining. Yeah, and after having these things, go to the circularize to make a circle from your let's say edges. Now with having your circle, you can, for example, as you saw in our blender example, you can extrude it down or upward, or you can do whatever you want with it. Yeah, so that's one way for, let's say, adding uh, let's say cylinder or circularized things to your model. Any question for this part? So I think you saw the multicut tool, hopefully. Um, okay, you're welcome. And yeah, there is another way which I will show you. For now, 5 and then 3 again. Let's go with a little more, because that's a little easier. Yeah. Now let's say I want to uh, add a circle here. I'm thinking maybe a little bigger would be better for me, and I can describe things a little better for you. Okay. And there are some numbers for, let's say, adding a circle in between. But for example, you can remember 24 and 16, I think, are the best numbers for doing so. But overall, whatever number that is divisible by 4 is okay for doing what I'm going to show here. So let me select these 16 squares here, and if you, let's just delete them. Yeah, if you count these vertices, there are 16, and yeah, it shows it here as well. The number of selected vertices are 16. And now what I'm going to do is to add a cylinder here with exactly 16 uh, yeah, 16 fragments or sections, and I'm saying 16, 24 because yeah, actually that's I think okay. Well, I've heard these numbers from somewhere, and I think following what others say is a little better. But yeah, I think these are the best numbers, and what you should do is to again match these points to your circle, and that's important because you may want to add a different thing from a circle. For example, you may have a different let's say topology, like a mouse or an eye or whatever, and you want to add it to your model, to your, let's say, to your face. Let's assume it's a face, and that's one way to kind of combine things in a correct manner and holding the topology kind of in a good manner. Yeah, so again, don't forget to combine the models together, and what I'm going to do is to use the target weld, which we saw it previously, but I'm going to do it again. Target weld, okay, hold shift. I'm not sure, yeah, so that's really good. Okay, and yeah, it's going the other way. We should add these points to this place, not the other way. Okay, that's actually, yeah, so first we should select this one and then this one. We should deselect this one. Okay, that's That's really annoying. Sometimes it doesn't help you at all. Okay. So again, target weld is really good because it connects and merges the two vertices, but sometimes it's not really helpful and you should kind of struggle with it, and then it will work for you, hopefully. Okay, that's really bad. I think we could also use backspace to kind of reset it. Yeah, it's not working here. Did it go the other way? Yeah. So I'm really struggling to get used to this multicut tool. Yeah. Okay. It's working now, and now it's not working anymore. Perfect. Okay, that's great. Let's just use it once. Okay. So sometimes you should use the Q to close it and do it again. I don't know what happens to the, let's say, to the buffer it has. Sometimes it just decides that you should put the points in the previous position for some reason. Maybe there is something that I'm missing here, but yeah, that's what I have problem with. But at the end it works, so it's not really important. Okay. Okay, that's really weird. Doesn't help at all. Okay. Now we are hopefully finishing this part. It's going really slow. Sorry for that. Okay, target weld. What is happening? Target weld. We really don't know what's happening, but let's just go with this one. Then again this two. I hope that we can do the last one. Hopefully. Okay, I don't know why it is trying to go to that position. Maybe we are selecting something else with it. Okay, let me just try it one more time. Hopefully it works. And it doesn't at all. It's perfect. Okay, so if it is not working here, I'm just going to move it there. Then, yeah, it's better not to use it at all. Okay. And don't forget to delete these faces at the center of your, let's see, cylinder. I hope nothing is, yeah. And there is one little problem here, as you can see. Let me show you. Yeah, the kind of these faces are going upward to reach our circle. You can fix it by, I mean, in some manner, by selecting all these vertices and using the scale tool to move them a little nearer to each other, but they are not going to be completely in the same position, and that's a little bad. Maybe you can also, what you do is to select each of the, let's say, vertices and then move them to be on there, for example, one lines of the grid, but that's not, I think, really going to be too helpful. And you will always have this problem, but and that's maybe a good solution to move your object exactly to the position you want and then do this let's say target welding thing. And for having a good topology, I think it's also beneficial to, I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. Yeah, obviously it's trying to, yeah, we can also try to For example, if it is something like this that we are doing, you can try to circulate these things as well, or you can maybe try to put things a little nearer to what you have here so that it gradually becomes a square, and then you can, let's say, select these. If it makes it smaller here, you can select these vertices. Okay, that was bad. Okay, and then deselect these ones. I scale them a little in this direction, and just what I'm doing is to just make a better circle here. And if you want to have more control over your scale, I think I mentioned it before, but yeah, use the bigger arrows. They are going to be more accurate in terms of scaling and moving things. Okay, I forgot to remove this one. I think this one is kind of problematic, but you kind of get the overall idea. Let's just go back and see what happens there. Exactly happened. Okay, yeah, I made some mistakes there. I forgot to remove some points, but you got the idea. You should, because we are running out of time. Yeah, we should try to make a better square, sorry, a better, let's say, circle as you go toward your circle or toward your shape, to have a better topology and have a smoother transition to the faces you want. I think now it's okay. Yeah, that's it for adding object. Yeah, so this is one thing that I wanted to mention. There's also another thing that may be useful for you, and that's, let me just add some cube here. And again, you could also do it for these vertices as well, I mean the outer ones. Yeah, let me just add a cube here and move it outward. And let's say I have these, it's just one example, don't worry about it. Yeah, I want to make these vertices exactly the same, but I don't want to, for example, let's just combine these two together. Where is the combine here? Okay, I don't want to do this thing that I should select all these vertices and then do the merge vertices to center. I want to select all these vertices and tell the Maya to merge them if they are, let's say, near to each other. For doing that, you just go to the merge vertices and go to this square here, put a threshold there that determines if the vertices are nearer to each other than some value, then let's say merge them together. That's really good because you can do lots of merge or target weld things in just one step. That could be really helpful for you. And that's one thing. Any question? Okay, the last part which I have in my mind is the snap tool, and for that let me just make it a little taller and then duplicate it, rotate one of them 90 degrees and move one of them forward. Yeah, now I want to I don't want to combine these two, but I want to, let's say, put my object in a surface like this. So actually, if I want to say it easier, maybe I want to snap my vertices over this, let's say, object. For doing that, I hope that I can do it correctly. Yeah, you should kind of understand what are the points in your, let's say, in your object, but I'm going to select only these 2 points, and yeah, I should use the snap to, yeah, you can see these are the snap to grid, which is not what we want for now. We want to do the snap to grid, set to curves. Just select your let's say your vertices, go to the edge mode, and it's up to you on what you understand from what you want to do, but just select these 2 vertices, select C, and then with the middle mouse button select the edge you have there. It will point those points, I mean put you those points exactly over that edge. And let me just do it for the other edges as well. So C, sorry, okay, these 2 pairs exactly. Yeah, it's just your imagination on what you want to do, but I'm just trying to show you some maybe tools for doing things a little easier. And now you can, sorry, you can hide your object here, and you will see a great, let's say, object here. I think you can just delete these faces for now. Yeah, you will see a perfect, let's say, curved shape for the, let's say, bottom of your cylinder. If you want to design something like this, you can again design the outer surface and then put your vertices exactly on those edges. That's going to be really helpful for you to uh, put the vertices where you want. And again, that's a lot, let's say, more accurate than doing it by hand. So what I could do is to go here and then play with these vertices so that I kind of feel okay with it. But let's say putting it by hand or putting it by a mathematical object is really different. Any question? Any problem? Yeah, so that's it for the lab, and let me mention that I have office hours on Monday and Wednesdays, if I'm right, and 4 to 5 p.m. So you can come there and ask your questions if you have any question. And I will wait here until 6:50 so that you can ask your questions, but I don't have anything to say for this lab. I mean, see you in the next lab. You're welcome. You're welcome.